Welcome everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 mistakes that real estate syndicators make and how to avoid them. So if you guys don't know me, my name's Agostino. I'm with Bulletproof Cash Flow, and one of the things that I do is I help people get into the real estate game. Now, I've been doing this for nearly 19 years. I have 19 years of experience in playing the real estate game. Started off first doing residential and single family and small multifamily, and then we started buying commercial deals, right? Commercial multifamily, anything greater than 5 units. At that point, I started syndicating deals and started putting together these massive deals. And then, of course, from there, we ended up growing to adaptive reuse and ground up development. And now we have a net lease fund that goes and buys net lease assets like Dollar Generals and Dollar Trees and Walgreens and stuff like that. So in all these types of cases, at least as far as the bigger deals are anyway, we raise capital from our partners to come on into the deal with us, and we put these deals together, and we all make money. That's the basic premise behind what we do, right? Everybody has equity in the deal. We all do very, very well. And then you know what? We end up doing future deals together too, right? All that money just keeps on rolling into the next deal, into the next deal, and so on, right? I should probably do a separate video just on that, because that's a really cool thing when you have all this cash that keeps coming into your deals. You're able to keep on leveraging and pushing that cash flow into future deals. So, but you know what? Today we're not talking about that. Today we're going to talk about how to help you, perhaps as an aspiring syndicator, or maybe you've already done other deals before and you want to sharpen up your skills. This is one of those things that we can help you with right here, right? Is how to get your deal underway, right? So, if you're looking to get into the multifamily game, and maybe you're looking to raise capital, okay, which is obviously a very big thing when it comes to putting these deals together, check out guidetocapital.com. Okay, it's a free guide, free download. Go ahead and grab it. But in that ebook, I cover everything from how to dress, what to say, how to say it. The script's in there. There's everything you need to really get started as far as raising capital is concerned. Okay, so definitely check this out. And of course, if you are looking to level up and really start syndicating big deals, check out multifamilyaccelerator.com. Okay, we help people get into the multifamily space, and we do it using other people's money. We raise capital and we get into big deals, right? But a big part of it is underwriting it, presenting yourself, making sure you look nice and polished and ready to present a deal to an individual, right? So now let's go ahead and get rolling here. Let's go ahead and get started with a quick overview of syndication for those who are familiar. Now, real estate syndication is the process of really raising capital, pooling money together from multiple investors to then go and buy a commercial deal. Okay, and that commercial deal could be an apartment building, like I said before, it could be office space, could be retail, it could even be development, right? Typically though, when we're syndicating deals, for the most part, what people are referring to is syndicating a deal for a multifamily type deal, right? So as a sponsor or a syndicator, all right, the same thing, you bring the deal, you organize the deal, you organize the capital, you manage the investment. That's really what it comes down to. And the investors, your limited partners, they're contributing the funding, and then they want to earn a passive income on that money that they're putting into the deal. So it allows you to take on bigger deals you could possibly do by yourself. All right, it's tough to do a $20 million deal if you're starting from zero, right? But if you're able to raise all the equity from friends and family, and you give them equity in the deal, and you give them a nice healthy return at the same time, it's a win-win for everybody. You get to get the deal underway, your investor partners start doing the deal as well, everyone's happy, right? So in actuality, if it's done right, syndication offers so many benefits to sponsors, to investors, to everyone involved. But it does come with a unique set of risks and challenges. So in this training, I'm going to share with you the top 5 mistakes that I see syndicators make, and like I said earlier, how you can avoid them. Okay, so ultimately my goal with this video and everything else that we do is to equip you with actionable knowledge. Okay, that's what we're looking to do. So it allows you to build a profitable, sustainable syndication business and become a great sponsor, right? Because here's the thing, there's a lot of bad sponsors out there, and they give a bad name to a lot of other guys out there, right? And it's not all the sponsors are irresponsible or anything else like that, right? But you know what? If there's one person that doesn't really do it properly, they don't follow all the rules, it doesn't look good, right? So this is my way of trying to help other people become great sponsors as well. So let's go ahead and dive in, all right? Mistake number one, assembling the wrong team. Now this is huge. This is a major thing when you put the wrong team together. So if you're going to be a success as a syndicator, it hinges largely on the team that you put together and you surround yourself with, okay? This includes your joint venture partners, right? The people that you are partnering with on the deal, your property management company, and maybe a construction management company, your accounting, your CPA, your lawyer, your attorney, and other key players, okay? Many syndicators put their teams together haphazardly, or they partner up with friends or family, as opposed to partnering up with someone that knows what they're doing, that's competent, okay? Always prioritize competency rather than loyalty to friends and family. I know it sounds terrible, but here's the thing. If you're going to be a fiduciary, you're going to be responsible for other people's money, you have to be responsible in the same way. They have to bring on the right partners to get the deal done. If you don't, it'll spell disaster. Why? Because if you get your Uncle Joe or whoever to manage a property who's never done it before, and it starts causing all kinds of problems with the property, perhaps gets you into some legal hot water, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for you. It's not good for the investors. It's not good for the property. No one wins, right? It's not good for your Uncle Joe either. You know, just because they want to have involvement, it doesn't mean they need to, right? Or at least make sure that they have some sort of training or something like that, then maybe they can come in as a like an entry level type scenario, right? But when you're messing with other people's money, always put together a great team. Okay, so here's 3 tips that I recommend when you're putting your team together, right? So seek out partners and advisors with specialized expertise in the asset class that you're targeting. Okay, so if you're doing multifamily, find an apartment operations expert. All right, I would prefer that you find a property management company, a great property management company. Ask them how many of these assets that you have are above 90%. Hopefully they'll give you the right answer, right? Should be the majority of them anyway, unless there's some distress or something like that, right? Things like that. I have another, I think it's in the my guide to finding a broker, guide-to-brokers.com. I cover some of those questions in there, so definitely check that out. It's another free ebook. So that ebook will also give you not only how to find brokers, but how to talk to brokers and other folks that you're going to need on your team. So check that out too. Okay. Anyway, getting the right team, especially the property management company. The property manager will be the first one you want to talk to, because they will lead you to all the other folks you're going to need on the team. Because a successful property management company, they're going to know all the CPAs, all the attorneys, all the key players in your business, okay, in that area. Number 2, make sure you have a team that has experience navigating the specific market and also that market cycles as well, right? So you want to be partnered up with people who've been through the downturns and some of the upswings as well. And then thirdly, align on the vision and expectations up front, right? So you have to make sure that everybody's on the same page. If your goal is only to buy 500 units, make sure everybody's on the same page. But if your goal is to blow it up and to hit $1 billion in a certain market or whatever, make sure your team is able to understand that too. Okay, it's you want to be able to partner up with someone that can continue growing with you at least for some period of time, right? And you have to realize too, this is the ugly part of running a business. Sometimes you outgrow certain individuals. It happens. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that you have to keep on scaling and growing your business. So this is part of life, part of doing business, right? So take the time to thoroughly assemble your diverse team and make sure you have complementary strengths and to balance out the weaknesses that you have, okay? Just that alone will pay dividends, huge dividends on the back end, okay? So mistake number 2, not understanding securities laws. Okay, this is a major mistake right here. So if you don't understand security laws and you start raising money without the right paperwork, you can be in a whole lot of hot water. Okay, most syndicators don't realize that when they're issuing securities, they have to comply with regulations. When you fail to do this, all right, the SEC comes down on you. They're knocking on your door. They're saying, hey there, buddy, what's going on? You're raising money. You're not supposed to do that. Not without the proper paperwork, right? They start getting fines, could get jail time, all right? It's serious business. So don't try to do this on your own without understanding how that works, okay? So here's a few things to keep in mind, okay? So work with a securities attorney who has the knowledge and the expertise of doing these types of structures, okay? A great attorney is going to know how to properly structure the offering and ensure that you're in compliance, okay? Second, raising money under Regulation D, Rule 506B, okay? If you're doing that, only accept money and funds from accredited investors they have a pre-existing relationship with, okay? So you can't do any general solicitation, advertising, anything else like that. You can't do that, all right? Number 3, be mindful of what you share on social media and on your website. So don't discuss specifics of current or past deals with potential investors, not until they're qualified, okay? Once you build a relationship with them, that's a different story, right? Don't ever do that, okay? Number 4, have your attorney review any promotional materials, any presentations before you just sending them all out to the internet, okay? Just make sure you get their blessing. Especially if you're going to plan on doing a real big blitz, you're doing some giant webinar with thousands of people going to be there, just have the attorney just take a quick look at it, okay? The last thing you want to do is say or do something that's going to get you into a lot of trouble. Believe me, you don't want a fine from the SEC, all right? You just don't want that. So securities laws, it can be intimidating, okay? But an experienced attorney can help guide you through the process very easily. It's not that hard. Because again, you have to just understand how it works. Your attorney, a good attorney, is going to make sure to keep you out of hot water. So take the time to understand the regulations and partner up with a great legal counsel that will understand what you're doing, what you're coming from, and make sure that keep you out of trouble, all right? It'll save you so many headaches down the road, okay? Mistake number 3, raising too little equity and or debt. Okay, so another area where syndicators fall short is not raising enough equity or even getting the right debt on the deal, okay? So syndicators, they often underestimate how much equity they need and they struggle to find the money to do the repairs and operate the asset. So they also take on the wrong loan terms. So let's talk about the first thing, okay? Quite simply, if they know they need to raise, like say, $2 million, okay, and they also need to do a whole lot of repairs on that asset, maybe the actual number needs to be 2.5 million. That means you go raise 2.5 million. Don't ever say, oh, we'll fund all the repairs from our general NOI, yada yada. That never works, guys. It never works. It doesn't work. All right, I've seen it happen so many times. It never works. Go ahead and raise all the equity that you need. So not only to close the deal, not only to make sure you cover all your closing costs and all the other things that come with it, but also any extra money that you're going to need for the reserve to actually do the repairs and everything that needs to get done, especially on a value add type scenario. And when we're talking about loans, okay, make sure you get the right debt. Guys, here's the thing. If the lender is giving you on what you seem to think is a good multifamily asset in a good area, and they're only giving you 65% with a 20-year amortization and some crazy interest rate, either they don't like the deal or you got to find a different lender. One of the two, okay? It's that easy because I've seen deals like that. I've seen deals where this one person I know, she was trying to find debt for an asset in some suburb tertiary market, and the lender gave her some like not so good terms, like 20-year amortization, 70% leverage on a multifamily. Like usually it's 80%, 75 to 80%, right? It's very odd. Interest rate was super high, and I'm like, the bank doesn't like this deal. That's why it's terrible. If you go to 1, 2, 3 banks and they all give you the similar sort of terms, chances are it might be a bad deal. Remember, you're looking at a lot of deals. The bank looks at way more deals than you do. Way more. Okay? So if you look at a deal, you're all crazy about this deal. You think it's the best deal ever. But then the banks, maybe you go after 5 banks and all 5 banks give you bad terms. Chances are there may be something you don't see. Ask the lender for some specifics as to how they got to their number. Do the work to figure out what's wrong with that deal. Maybe they know something you don't. Okay, so some tips, all right? Pad your equity, like I said, 10 to 20% as a buffer, okay? I like to do even more than that if I need it. It takes more time, it takes longer to raise, but you know what? It's totally worth it. That way you have that cash in the bank in case you need it, okay? Have a pipeline of your investors you can contact if something falls through. Okay, and what does that mean? That means when you're syndicating a deal, you're typically getting all the commitments up front, okay? And then when it comes to close to closing day, you have everybody wire all the money in, all right? Typically, I like to have double of whatever I need. So if I'm looking to raise $2 million for the deal, I like to have soft commitments. That means commitments from other people, about $4 million, right? So why? That way, if something goes wrong, if 2 or 3 lenders decide to fall out and they're big or not lenders, but equity partners end up falling out, I can try to call on the other ones and see if they can backfill, right? That's the reason why we do that. And then third, debt model under different terms to find the optimal leverage, your rate and amortization rate for your business plan, okay? Because like I said before, if you're optimal at 30-year amortization, even 35-year amortization, right, which doesn't really happen that often, but let's say you do that, okay, and you go ahead and you get 80% leverage. Banks these days aren't really doing that, but let's say you do that, right? Model the deal under different terms, or at a minimum, have the ability to change it fairly easily, okay? It'll let you know as you start getting the term sheets in, and you put it into your sheet, like what is your break even point? What is the point where you just dump the deal, right? Because that way you're able to model out the different debt and the different equity that you're putting into the asset and see what type of returns are coming out, so you can hit your target for you and for your investors, okay? And fourth, build in those contingencies like loan extensions in case you need more time, okay? That's another real big thing, okay? In the loan documents, you can sometimes build in extensions depending on the type of loan that you got. So let's say, for instance, you get a 12-month bridge loan or something like that. Sometimes you can get an extension in those types of loans. That way, with some small amount of money, you can go ahead and extend it for another 12 months or something like that. While you try to figure out what's going to happen, right? Maybe you're renovating an asset and you expect to have it all done in 12 months, but it's taking a little bit longer than because you ran into some issues. Make sure you build in those contingencies in your loan, okay? And number 5 here, when you're doing your renovations, consider that bridge loan so you can secure permanent financing down the road, just in case, again, depending on the type of deal, all right? So raising the equity, finding the right debt is mission critical. Leaving yourself short is a recipe for disaster. So don't do that, okay? What's a 4th mistake? Bad underwriting. This one's a huge one right here. And this one's also near and dear to my heart, okay? But you have to, when you're looking at deals, I looked at, God, probably 1,000 deals before I actually did my first one, right? And the way I did it was I went to LoopNet. I know, that's a place where deals go to die. Yes, this is true. However, there's plenty of information there, plenty of information about the deal, the market. There might be downloads of the actual P&Ls and the financials, so that way you can get a look at what those look like. And it's not because you plan on comparing them or anything else like that, or maybe you do, but it's to get you familiar with the types of data that you're looking at and start looking for patterns in that data, okay? That's a whole other discussion on underwriting, right? But we go deeper into this on the multifamily accelerator. Okay, so if you ever want to know how to underwrite deals like a master, you should definitely check that out. Okay, but the thing is though is that what many people do is they don't underwrite that many deals and they leave it to someone else. Okay, they rely really heavily, too heavily in my opinion, on what the broker and the sellers tell them, or they make overly optimistic projections. And this gets them into deals that don't pan out. That's usually what happens, okay? Brokers, guys, listen, brokers are in the business of selling deals. That is what they do. When you look at their OMs are beautiful. They're all like bright green where all the grass is, and not a shred of garbage anywhere. I challenge you to find a shred of garbage on any OM next time you look at it. You won't, okay? You just won't. And that's all right. You know, it's just know what it is. It's marketing material. And that's all right. I'm not knocking it, all right? I'm not knocking it. But you have to understand, this is where your due diligence and underwriting come in. It's extremely important, okay? The sellers will say whatever, the brokers will say whatever. You're the one that's gonna be stuck with that deal for the next 3, 4, 5 years, depending on what the deal is, right? Be very careful when you're doing this. So here's some conservative tips for conservative underwriting right here, okay? Some tips for that. So, understand what the broker or the seller claims are when you're looking at the data related to the market growth, okay? They may say whatever. Try to validate that data, all right? There's a lot of it might be garbage. Just be aware of it, validate it, okay? Secondly, stress test that deal under normal and extreme circumstances, okay? Now, what I'm referring to is both rent and occupancy scenarios, okay? So I've seen deals, I just saw one the other day. It's a market that I actually owned an asset in, and they're saying like, oh yeah, it's gonna be $1,500 a month in rent in this market. There's no way it's $1,500 a month. There's no way, it's not. It's you're maybe $800 at best, How do I know that? Because I used to be in that market. That's how I knew, and nothing's really changed in that market to justify a nearly double increase in rent. Occupancy was also a challenge, right? I saw the other assets in that market. It was a very, very tough and rough neighborhood. So what does that mean? These guys will always hand you documents that say, oh yeah, 90% occupancy. You'll never get it to 90%. It's a challenge to get it to 90%, right? So just be sure to validate those numbers, okay? Third, have an experienced partner review your projections, all right? Get a second, get a third, even get a fourth opinion if you have to, okay? Have someone that's done this before, take a look at your projections, take a look at the area, and understand what it is that you're getting into, okay? And again, on the accelerator I mentioned before, we do all this. If there's a deal that you find and you think it's a beautiful deal, you can bring it right to the group and we talk about it right there on the spot. Everybody gets to talk about your deal and what they love and what they don't love about it, okay? Number 4, disclose your assumptions to the investor so they can evaluate the risk too, okay? That's a big part of doing these types of deals here, is when you're putting together your syndication documents, you're putting in all the risks that are related to it, okay? Thing is that you have to take a very cautious, data-driven approach to underwriting. Don't let emotions get in the way. Don't let greed cloud your judgment, okay? Obviously, we're all human. These are very human traits, right? You have to take a very logical approach when you're looking at the underwriting. Don't get overly excited about it. Make sure there's sufficient margin of safety as well, just in case you screw up, okay? If you make a mistake, make sure you have enough margin of safety in there, okay? Mistake number 5, poor investor communications. This one is a major one right here, okay? When things are going great and you're communicating when you're first starting out, maybe you communicate on a monthly basis for the first 6 months, and then you go to a quarterly. Things are going great. Investors are happy, everybody's happy, all right? But if something doesn't go right or as expected, and then suddenly you stop communicating to the investors, they don't want to be kept in the dark. Nobody likes to be kept in the dark. I mean, I know you don't, or nobody likes that, right? Many syndicators don't realize the level of proactive communication required to keep these passive investors satisfied. This causes a great deal of frustration, and they stop trusting you is a big thing, right? Because here's the thing, guys. In this business, it's not just a currency of cash. It's a currency of trust, okay? If you lose trust with your investor community, trying to gain it back is extremely difficult, extremely difficult. So Over communicate if you have to. Be present all the time. Hell, do videos if you have to about a certain project and put it on a private YouTube channel so you can share it with just your investors only, right? How cool would that be? There's many, many things you can do. Okay, so here, like this, number one, provide frequent updates, okay, at least monthly at first, like I said before, then you do quarterly, okay, then you can start doing reports on the general performance of the asset, okay. Two, send share those photos and videos, okay. Do site visits, show that you're actively engaged with the property and you're talking to people that are actually working there, and you can show the level of the quality of the asset, okay, and some of the work that you're doing there. Okay. Three, if you're running into any types of problems, any types of issues, communicate it. Get your action plan out there and let them know how you're going to fix it. Okay. Don't give them any surprises. For most people, the only time they like surprises is for their birthday. All right. You don't want to do that with their money. Don't mess with people's money. All right. Number four, have your CPA assist with any type of investor questions and ensure that the tax documents are timely, okay? Because there's another pet peeve for them. By the way, when I was talking earlier about your CPA, okay, some CPAs don't want to talk to anybody, right? It's important that if you talk to a CPA, you got to partner up with someone like that. You tell them, it's like, hey, look, I may have a handful of investors that have ever done a syndication before. Are you okay to talk to them? Are you okay to help them through? And if they say they're too busy, or if they start belly aching about it, go get someone else. It's easier to do that, okay, than try to force them to do it, all right? Number five, focus updates on metrics that investors care about. What do they care about? Occupancy, NOI, cash flow, equity buildup, okay? There might be more, but if you hit those ones, they'll love that, okay? Again, frequent, transparent communication is absolutely key to keeping your investors engaged and satisfied over the long term. So make it a priority from day one, all right? So that's about it. Those are the five right there, okay? This covers the 5 top mistakes I see syndicators make on their very first deals, okay? So please stay clear of those mistakes. And like I said, I offered some of the ways to fix them. But here's some key takeaways, okay? So assemble your experienced, aligned team, understand securities regulations, raise plenty of equity and find the right debt, use conservative underwriting assumptions, and communicate frequency and transparently. Okay, so if you avoid these common pitfalls, they'll put you on a path to syndication success. Now, one of the things I see is that for people that lack experience is they may do 1 or 2 deals that end up ending in disasters. Okay, most GPs don't underwrite the deals. They don't underwrite the risk associated with the deals. They take on the best case scenario every single time, and they assume that those 3% rental increases are going to go on and forever. I've seen that too. Ridiculous. Okay, if you don't want to make these mistakes, check out our masterminds. Okay, you got the multifamily advantage.com if you want to do smaller deals, and multifamilyaccelerator.com for larger deals. Okay, go ahead and check those out. I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. You really will, especially if you're just starting out in the real estate game. Because, again, like I said before, money is one form of currency in this deal, but so is trust. And if you don't do it right, gaining that trust again from your friends and family and your investors could be a real big challenge. So, like I said, you want to do it right. Okay, so that's all I got, guys. Hope you found some value in this webinar, in this training. Okay, if you're watching the recording of this, okay, on YouTube, please do me a favor. Okay, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you got the value. That way you get notified whenever we're posting up stuff like this. This is not the only thing we do. We post up a bunch of other stuff too. We have a podcast that we do every week. I think we're up to well over 700 videos at this point on our YouTube channel. So we have a lot of stuff up there, right? And like I said, it's designed to help you become great at what you do, all right? Thanks again for your time, guys. Greatly appreciate it. Again, if you have any comments, you catch us on the replay, go ahead and drop them in the comment section, okay? And we'll get back to you, all right? Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.